Every farm has a story. When it comes to dairy farming, these stories are often only heard by the animals raised, the land stewarded, and the family that makes it all possible. Join me, Dairy Gal Val, as I interview individuals from across the dairy industry, both within the United States and across the globe, discussing topics like farm management, the food industry, ag business and technology, and most importantly, their farm story. This is the Dairy Hour Podcast. Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's episode of the Dairy Hour Podcast. I'm your host, Dairy Gal Val, and this is going to be the start of a very special little mini series that I have to highlight some really cool small ag businesses from around the country and the world. So we're going to start off with one of my favorite businesses to support. Welcome, Elizabeth DeVries from 4D Ag Fashion and 4D Ag World. How are you, Elizabeth?
Thank you, Val. I'm good. How are you?
I'm very good, thank you. Hoping that the sun comes out later today, but I guess we'll cross that bridge when it comes.
Yes.
So it's so great to be talking with you. And I know you just got back from a pretty neat European trip, which is actually where you're from. So do you want to talk a little bit? I guess let's back up a little bit. Let's talk about your businesses that you currently have. So maybe just a snapshot of the two businesses and what they have to offer. And then we'll back it up and talk about how you managed to get into such a business.
Sounds good. So together with my husband, I'm the owner of 4D Ag World. And 4D Ag World started 7 years ago with rubber flooring, steel products like headlocks, freestyle dividers. Now we expanded our business the last couple of years with fans, and a lot of rubber products, also products, rubber flooring, of course, we already had, but also for the employees to stand on, the milkers, so the fatigue mat. And now we also offer the rubber for in the stalls, so for the cows to lay on. It's a business that we grew from nothing to what we are now. And then 5 years ago, we added 4D Ag Fashion, and that's a business who provides clothing for the milkers, for the people on the dairy, on the farms, but also a lot of calf jackets. So anything what has to do with cow comfort, calf comfort, and employee comfort, and clothing, all waterproof, of course, we provide to the farmers and the dairy industry.
Awesome. I am a huge fan. We started using your calf jackets last fall, and they are just really great. They hold up so well. And I, of course, am a big fan of the different colors and patterns that they come in. So, and actually, my calf manager, every once in a while, we raise all of our bulls and heifers. He'll put a pink one on a bull, and I'm like, man, what are you doing? Come on, like, gotta
Why not?
Give the man some camo or some blue. Like, I get the assorteds. Yeah. Plus, I want to be able to walk around and be like, oh, look at that little heifer in pink, or look at this little bull calf. Like, I don't know. Yeah. I just like to give him a hard time, but it is fun. And I, of course, like to get a variety of the different colors because
I have a surprise for you, because this year we're gonna come out with purple, and the purple is the most beautiful purple color we've ever seen. We did a lot of developing and asking a lot of dairy women, of course, what kind of purple we needed, and I have a container coming in a couple of weeks, so yeah, we're gonna put it online soon.
Ooh, I can't wait. Keep me posted because yes, I'm gonna have to add some purple into the mix now. Then I can really get after the calf manager. All right, these ones get purple, these ones get pink. Yeah. No. Because our calves need to be fashionable in the winter as well as warm, so that's important. Absolutely. And yeah, I've gotten some sets of the milking sleeves for our employees, and I've been very happy with them. The boys really enjoy using them to help keep their arms a lot cleaner and drier while they're milking, so that's always been great. So yeah, we have not stepped into the 4D Ag world as of yet, but definitely could have plans for that in the future with some different renovations around the farms. So
beautiful.
But I'm all for the the animal fashion. So the fashion
Yes,
is where it's
100%.
at. So I don't know if you want to talk about, you know, your story personally and, you know, where you started and where you're at now.
Yes, of course. So like 20 years ago, I had a boyfriend and he was milking cows at a dairy in the Netherlands, Friesland, we're from. And I helped them in the vacations and I really loved doing that. And then I met my husband, and who was a previous dairy farmer in the US, also in the Netherlands, but also in Texas and Wisconsin. And he always talks about dairy. He thinks dairy. He loves dairy, like we all do, of course. And then in 2011, it's actually this week, it's 12 years ago, we moved to India. So my husband was a consultant there for the dairy industry. At that time, India still had a 40% shortage of milk. I think they still have a shortage of milk, but I need to look up how much it is. And there's a lot of multinational companies. They do have the money, but no knowledge. So those companies hire guys like my husband. Lots of times it's Dutch people to set up large-scale dairy farms in India just for a couple of years, and then you move back again. So when he came home one day, he said, "I got an offer from India." I was like, "I'm not moving to India. I've seen some footage of it, and I'm not interested." Well, they flew us to India, and I was sold. It's the most incredible country with biggest difference, smells, people, curries, delicious food, of course, and of course a shortage of milk. So there is a big opportunity for farms to grow or just to be set up. So we moved for a year and a half, but we stayed almost 4 years. So then you can see how great of a time we had. We met a lot of people. Of course, he needed headlocks, he needed freestyle dividers, and he had a company. He found a company in India who made those. And as soon as they came in, he said, "Wow, this is high quality, hot dip galvanized steel products. This could be interesting for my guys my boys in the US." His sons and daughter already lived in the US, still lived in the US, but we never talked about it again because we lived in India. We also met one of our friends there. It's now our business partner who owned a little clothing store, like fabric store. And we gave him a calf jacket one day years ago. And we said, maybe look into this. I don't know if it's a market, just try, you know. And I still have the first sample of the jacket he made. Well, we learned a lot along the way, all of us. And so now we have a business partner in India for the clothing. So everything is made in-house, our own brand. We have currently 33 people working for us full-time in India. Of course, it's slowing down now again because in the summer we make the calf jackets, and in the winter we make inventory for all the aprons and bibs and such. So we have 3 containers on the way, and we already had 2 this year. So that grew tremendously. Then we moved back to the Netherlands 2015, and we still were thinking about this idea of maybe moving to the US, but visa-wise, it's not that easy. But luckily, our kids here helped us a lot. So for us, it was a okay, easygoing process, which was so blessed with that. It's unbelievable. And yeah, then we started 40 Ag World, and 2 years later, calf jackets. We finally had a high quality calf jacket, all made in-house. Then we started with the aprons and the bibs, and now even the kids' clothing. So that's how we did it. But yeah, it's immigration. So you're selling your house, you're selling your cars, you sell basically everything you have. We seriously moved with 3 suitcases. And later we had a container coming, but first you need to see how it goes. You're saying goodbye to your parents, your family, friends, anything, you know, your language, your food, you say goodbye to, and just try. We lived in a 5th wheel here next door. I still see the spot outside of my office for a year and a half. And the only thing we did was trying to grow the business. So any money we made was going into the buildings we have right now. There was no traveling. There was no luxury. There was hardly any going out for food, which is fine because I love cooking. So that was all good. But the first year and a half was our businesses were built in a 5th wheel. So that I always love saying that. Yeah, now we grew out to we have 9, 10 full-time employees. Even our son Bram is on board now in the management. So we have big plans with him. And people like you, Val, you're one of the fans, you know, you promote our business. I see you at the New York Farm Show. We take pictures for you. It's such a small thing, but for me, it's so big. If anybody just says, hey, I found this new brand of calf jacket, I have some new bits, even the sleeves, if you say the milkers really love the sleeves, they last so long, the price is amazing. For you, it's so small, but for a startup business, it's so big when people help you and promote your business.
Oh, 100%. And, you know, I definitely enjoy promoting and talking about things that I really, truly love and support. And you've always just been so great to work with. If I have questions or reaching out, anything like that has just been wonderful. And your story is just fascinating. And I actually didn't realize that you had actually lived in India, which I think is absolutely cool.
Yeah.
So you were born and raised in the Netherlands,
Yes, ma'am.
and you didn't have anything to do with dairy until you had this first boyfriend.
Yeah.
Now, and you say your husband had been in the US at one point, but then was back in the Netherlands, I'm guessing, when you met him and started dating him.
Yes, ma'am. Exactly.
So did you go to college or anything like that? Or
Yes, there was high school, of course, the kindergarten and everything up. And then you have high school and college, but I never liked school. I did not like the teachers. I thought they were bullying. No, not bullying me. I thought it was boring, to be honest. I'm a go-getter. Show season starts again next week. I'm going to Wisconsin for 3 weeks, 2 shows, dairy visits, well, Dairy Expo, of course. That's when I thrive. So setting me down in the classroom, it's absolutely not what I like. But I did high school, I did college just because, yeah, I simply had to. But college was only I picked a 2-year college, and that was yeah, it's detailhandel. It's more into sales. So I do have a sales college. I did a sales college, which was fine, but I dragged through those years of school. Everything around it I loved, but the whole school thing, if one of my grandkids says, I don't like school so much, I'm like, girl, I'm with you. I feel you. So I did it all, but I'm more a hands-on person.
Yeah, definitely. My husband tends to be that way. He
Yeah.
cannot sit in a classroom situation, and he doesn't learn anything that way. He learns by going out, figuring it out, doing it, talking to other people. And that's definitely, I'm a huge supporter of, if school's not for you, then you should be out working and figuring it out on your own,
100%.
or with the help of people that already have that experience, rather than wasting your time and money sitting in an environment that does nothing for you. And I get that there's both. I did very well in school, and I actually am the opposite. I like school. I did well at school, but again, I stepped back and realized that it's definitely not for everyone. And there are some really successful people that I enjoy. I just enjoy learning from them. But, you know, there's very successful people that did not go to college, that, you know, were not school people, and that's okay. Whatever works for you is definitely where it's at. So
100%.
that's a really cool. And of course the sales, at least hearing it in the back of your head, probably helped you a little bit
Oh yeah.
in the long run. But
the funny thing is, I did the sales school, and there's also a lot of bookkeeping and administration and stuff like that. But then the whole tax system in the US is different, you know. So you have to get into that again. Of course, we have a great office manager. I have an amazing full-time assistant as well. But it's all different. So you learn all the Dutch stuff, and then you move to the US, and it's different again. And also what you do, and I do the same, conferences, dairy conferences, calf conferences. That's the stuff we're into, and that's the stuff we want to learn from, and new products and new companies, and that is interesting for us, especially for me, you know.
Yeah, 100%. I do love traveling around and meet, and a lot of the conferences, like I get a lot from the speakers and the actual conference, but I get so much just from the people that are there and getting to have those conversations and picking up different tidbits from them, whether it be, you know, someone that lives fairly close to you that you may have never met before, or just someone that lives across the country from you that, you know, you would have never otherwise had the opportunity to meet. So that's, it's definitely a really cool thing. And I'm a huge fan of just saying, you know, if you can somehow figure out how to do something that you want to do whatever you can to actually get it done, because you were meant to do that thing. And if there's any possible, I mean, where there's a will, there's a way.
100%.
So I'm definitely a huge fan of that, and continuing your education by doing other things is definitely a huge positive in your life as well.
100% agree.
So what, I mean, you said that you started to fall in love with farming, you know, with your boyfriend on a farm in the Netherlands. What is it about farming that's drawn you in? I mean, your parents, I'm guessing, didn't have anything to do with farming.
No, that's a good question. I grew up on a bakery. So my parents had a bakery. They had some employees, 6 kids, and I was one of them. And I'm number 5. And so of course in the bakery, dairy products are extremely important, the cream and everything. But you don't think about that as a kid. But I did grow up in a small business environment. My parents were working harder than I do. I take off on Saturdays. They never did. If I'm not traveling, if I'm traveling, I'm working all the time. But that's awesome. Of course, why I love the dairy industry. First of all, the products. My goodness, who can live without cheese? Ice cream. We just went to the Netherlands, like you said before. Well, I had so much cheese and ice cream and delicious. Of course, the milk and just the products. I like the people a lot. If I talk to small dairy farm owners, we work with the biggest dairy farms in the US. I love talking to the dairy owners, but also the managers. The managers are working like their owners. It's unbelievable. How people take care of their cattle, it's unbelievable what a development that has gone through the last couple of years, maybe 10, 20 years. And if I hear people talking about people not taking good care of the animals, of course, I'm like, I see such a different world in the dairy industry. So the development of that, yeah, hardworking people. I always surrounded myself when I grew up, I think, with hardworking people. Like you guys work 2 times harder than I do with owning a dairy. You're 24/7, and I respect that a lot. And you still find time to go to the farm shows, do a conference, raise a family, which is also hard work. So I just respect any family who works hard, takes care of the cattle, and makes the most beautiful products.
Very cool. Well, we're a very lucky industry to have great people like you that are here to help us and help develop products that we are obviously in need of. And I definitely, let's see, I was dating myself the other day. It's been enough years since I've graduated college. And yeah, the difference in the industry just from when I got out of college to now is just, it's insane how fast that the industry has changed and how fast it's risen to meet those consumer demands and the need for different things, the standards in animal care and, you know, worker safety, worker comfort. Those standards have all exponentially grown in the past even 15 years, which is really, it's really fascinating to see and look back and just see the differences.
Yeah, it's awesome. And then also the clothing comes in again. The other day I was at a conference, a locally one. One of the speakers said, how much does it cost for you to buy a pair of boots, some sleeves, an apron, or a bibs from us, of course? What kind of investment is that? The neighbor doesn't do it. If you do it, it shows your employees you want to keep them, you want to take care of them, you want them to stay clean. It's also hygiene for your cows and for your products. Fatigue mat, you know, how much do you need to invest for people to stand for 10 hours milking cows a day? It's basically a small investment. So that's becoming more a thing. Like you said, employee comfort is so important to keep your employees, the good ones you really want to keep, and then have consistency in that as well. Yeah, that's where we come in.
Definitely, because keeping the employees happy is good for everybody, because when you turn over employees, you have just all the expenses of training different people, different employee dynamics, especially on a smaller farm like we are. You know, it's a small, everybody has to work together. There's no way to assign someone so that they're not on a shift with someone else, and just keeping everybody happy, keeping the dynamics balanced is just a really important part of dairying. And I mean, fortunately and unfortunately, dairying these days, and on especially bigger farms, you're becoming more of a people manager than an animal manager as an owner, or just an overall manager of the dairy. So definitely taking care of your employees and making sure everyone is comfortable and happy is becoming more and more important every day that passes.
Big time.
So, what did you do in India? I mean, you said your husband was over there setting up a dairy. What did you just kind of hang out and enjoy the curry, or did you have some type of a career over there, or how did that work?
Great question. I always come from a full-time job. I was a truck driver for 6 years.
Oh,
yeah, in the Netherlands, and I worked for corporate businesses, always full-time, going. So when we moved to India, yeah, it's a whole visa process again as well. My husband was a consultant, so it's a person they need there for his quality. And then the wife is not allowed to work. Well, when we moved, I said, well, I'm not going to sit still. I'm going to have to do something. I'm going to be so busy. I want to look for a volunteer job, you know, that kind of stuff. Well, I can tell you, if you move to India and such a different environment, and you need to find your way, also your husband needs to find his way in the big corporate business. We're not used to that. If you work in the dairy industry, like smaller dairies, there's enough time you have to spend on yourself, your marriage, moving to India, get to know the neighbors. And so as soon as we moved, I was like, oh, I need some time here to get used to this country. And then we had a lot of neighbors, and they came, a lot of kids. So honestly, I had no job, and I absolutely loved it. I cannot imagine doing it for the rest of my life, but we had a lot of guests over. My parents came, a whole group of friends, lots of my family came over as well. They are world travelers. So you look forward to those visits. Also, we had 2 times a year, we got a ticket from the company to go to the Netherlands in the summer and at Christmas. So honestly, I had just a great time in India, doing nothing. It sounds a little weird, but of course, supporting your business, your husband. I went to the dairy here and there, of course, to check it out. It was just building a dairy, you know, from scratch. From concrete to when the cows come in. So that development was awesome to see. Yeah, it was pretty nice life I had there. I must say, I learned cooking in India. In the Netherlands, I always busy, and after work you're always busy. I was always playing in the band. I was singing in a gospel choir, so always busy. And now in India I had nothing, you know. So I learned cooking there. I had some cookbooks. You also have to cook with the seasons. So these days you can buy strawberries all year round. Well, in the summer they taste amazing. In the winter, like in India, it's just seasonal. So when you see cauliflower, it's like, oh, it's cauliflower season. You can eat cauliflower 3 times a week. When you have mango season, oh, you make the most beautiful shakes of mango and just eat the mango. So I had to cook in season, and now I benefit from that a lot because I'm way more creative with cooking, and we love eating. So yeah, basically I didn't do a lot, but I had a most amazing time of my life, to be honest.
You found different things to do.
100%. And I'm
definitely
pretty, that sounds a little weird, but I'm pretty happy with myself. If you are, you're not, if you're not super happy in your head, then it's not going to work out.
Definitely. 100% agree with that. That's really cool that you had the opportunity to go just kind of immerse yourself in the culture and learn different things, find yourself, and it basically gave you maybe a much needed break that you needed to start the next chapter of your life. And
Yes.
Obviously be there to support your husband, because I'm sure that his job probably got a little stressful. Yes, I can
Yes.
imagine that that would be a fairly stressful. Did you have a lot of problems with language barriers or?
Not at all, because in India, of course, the UK or England ruled that country for a long time, and they went independent just a little while ago. Almost everybody speaks English. All the upper class and the middle class, everybody speaks English. So most of our neighbors even spoke English.
Oh, good.
And then the lower class doesn't speak English, but then you don't communicate with them because they just do the work. There's obviously no caste system anymore in India, but in the books there's no caste system, but in real life, caste system is the most important thing. Yeah, which is fine. The people in the lower class, they do the hard work, and they're pretty happy. And then the middle class is coming up big time, and those people all speak English. So there was not much of a language barrier. No.
Good. And being from the Netherlands, when did you learned English as a kid, or I'm just
Yeah.
curious.
Good question. You know, when you are, I don't know the grade names of the classes, but when you are 10, 11, you start learning English in school, but that's maybe a couple of hours a week. So it's if it's not your thing, you will not learn English in school. But then there's the radio, it's a lot of English songs, there's the TV. We have nothing synchronized. We have everything with subtitles. So then if you have already a little English interest, you will learn from that. And then we moved to India, and then I learned a lot. I made a lot of mistakes. Still, I ask some words questions to our office manager to use his words, and I'm like, what does it mean? Explain it in a different way, and I still learn. But yeah, people can hear we have an accent, so they do respect it a lot that we just do it, you know.
Yeah.
And that's also my motto, just do it. If you don't do it, if I just sit here,
you don't learn.
No, if I just keep speaking Frisian and Dutch, then nothing's gonna happen. So I have to do it.
Yes. So I guess you probably don't know this about me. I have a pretty good friend that I ride horses with, and she's from the Netherlands as well. And sometimes she does get a little bit mixed up on her words, or if you talk really fast, she'll be like, wait a second, hang on. So,
yes.
So yes, I am definitely familiar with how that goes, and I love it. And we enjoy, she has a more harder to pronounce name, obviously, than Elizabeth. She is Sietske.
Sietske, she's Frisian like me.
Yes. So so we have a lot of fun, especially she barrel races with us. So the announcer trying to pronounce that from a piece of paper is, we've heard it all, and it's quite funny. And we just laugh about it because we try to correct people and they don't listen. So we're just like, whatever.
It's funny. I just saw my sister this weekend. I have one sister, 4 brothers. Her name is Rikste. Well, it's one of the most beautiful names in the world. It's Frisian as well, named after my grandmother, Rikste. So I talked to her this weekend. I said, I'm so happy they called me Elizabeth and not Rikste, although it's a beautiful name. She said, yeah, I do understand, because you're in the US. That would be difficult.
Yes, 100%. Us US people, we just can't pronounce other foreign country names. We have a terrible time with it. So
that's fine.
So anything exciting coming up besides Purple Calf jackets that we can expect to hear from 4D Ag World, 4D Ag Fashion?
Yes, ma'am. 4D Ag World is always developing. We're growing like crazy. Like I said, our son Bram is on board, also in the management team. He's selling big time. So he knows a lot of people in the dairy industry. Our products are high quality, so it's easy. It's not always easy, but you know, that is super exciting. The fans, we have a new fan, the Mag fan by Dex. Well, it's a hit. It's crazy. So call the guys if you need any information about that. For the clothing, my goodness, I'm so excited. I leave for Milwaukee next week. So then we have the AABP show. That's the veterinarian show. It's a smaller show, but you talk to all the students. We're going to show the new green bibs, the green repro sleeves, anything like that. Yeah, and then in two weeks later. So we have World Dairy Expo coming up the first week of October. It's the biggest show we do. We have the biggest booth we ever had in the big white tent. We have, the kids' clothing in purple and blue now as well. So the bibs, yeah, that's all brand new as well. And ladies, come to the booth, especially the Dairy Moms Facebook group, because we have diaper bags, we have backpacks, we have little sling bags just for your phone and some money and credit cards in it. We just expanded quite a bit with a lot of new products. So I hope to see everybody at World Dairy Expo in the big white tent. We have a lot of promos going on. So
I will be there. I'll be there for a few days to see you as well. So I'll make sure to find you. Don't worry.
Yes, we need to take a picture.
Of course.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna wrap things up. I love to, on my podcast, ask a couple of random questions just for fun. And obviously with such a fascinating story, you've traveled all over the world. Do you choose beaches or mountains?
Beaches.
Beaches. Agreed. And this one is going to be a tough one. Your favorite food?
Indian. No question there.
Didn't want to go to India, finally went, fell in love with the food, and now she's hooked.
Beautiful.
I love it. So Elizabeth, do you want to plug where they can find you on social media, your website?
Yeah, 40agfashion.com. So that's the web shop. So you can buy all the clothing you want. Competitive priced, high quality. And then 40agworld.com is the world site. We're updating our website as we speak. And Facebook, we're pretty active, and also Insta, of course.
Definitely. Well, Elizabeth, thank you so very, very much for joining me. I really enjoyed our conversation, and obviously I cannot wait to see you in person again and just keep on getting to know you better, seeing the new products that you come out with, and just seeing all your really creative ideas on obviously cow and employee comfort. So with that, thank you so much. Just a reminder, please go ahead and follow 4D Ag Fashion, 4D Ag World on social media. They have a very active page. They're great to follow. And obviously, if you're using their products, make sure you tag them. I know Elizabeth really loves to see those tags, and she's very excited to see people out using her products. Mm-hmm. And a reminder to follow me on social media, Dairy Gal Val. And also, please leave a review if you like this podcast. Be sure to share it with friends. And we'll be signing off. Thanks for joining us for the Dairy Hour. Thank you so much for listening to today's podcast. Please be sure to subscribe to be notified of future episodes and leave a review. You can find me on most social media platforms at Dairy Gal Val or online at dairygalval.com. Thank you so much for coming to the Dairy Hour.